Okay, I haven't uploaded for a while. I'm trying to work out, I had this upload settings at 30,000. I've had to drop it back to about 12. I'm only not pulling that as much. Bear with me, I might just work out what's going on here. Seems we have a tremendous drop-off rate on my uploading. So, give me I'm running, just to refresh, running a mod. My wife's alive, Nora, and I can have my dog, and I've got all these sound effects off for his paws and everything down because it gets, with headphones, it gets a little bit crazy. Okay, just bear with me here. I'm just going to check how this is uploading. Alright, we'll just flow along for about half an hour. We'll just see how things run. As I said, my upload speed has been up to 38 megabits per second. I just did a speed test pulling 24. I haven't done any live streaming for a month or two, simply because of business commitments and huge working hours for myself, 16 odd hours a day, which has made it difficult. Plus Christmas and family and women and, you know, all that stuff keeps you busy. I always thought I'll get the high speed upload internet, and then I won't have the time to take advantage of it. Hey, but that's life, isn't it? You get your money, you get your car, you get your nice place, you get all these things, and then you find out you're always time poor and can never enjoy it to the best. But hey, that's life. There's only so many things you can do in a day. For those who do tune it in, I'm just watching the stream. I'm still dropping a lot of frames, which is not the best. So just put up with it for a little bit for me, and I'll work out what's going on. all testing leading up. Like I said, I was pulling up to 38 meg uploads, and I had my live stream set at 30. And it was chucking a spaz, so I've dropped it back to 12 now, down to 7.5 upload speed. So the speed test I did before was still easily doing that, but deal with it. So let's talk about the Last Jedi. I've put up a few videos about Last Jedi, and I had a few people to join in. Now, I don't want to reveal my exact age, but I grew up in the outback of Australia. So most of you guys, there's a few Australians, but majority of you Americans and Northern Europeans and things like that have come onto my YouTube channel. Very simply, I grew up. We call it the bush. We wouldn't say the outback. And when Star Wars first came out, I actually, from my memory, saw, what the hell? When Star Wars came out, we actually saw it a few years. I think it's 3 or 4 years later than when it actually came out. Simply because we lived in the bush in the middle of nowhere, in a very remote but reasonably wealthy mining community. And
Notice anything? Good team. Good idea. Wouldn't want these things falling into the wrong hands.
oh, they've killed a few people. Okay. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, so I grew up in the bush, and didn't see the so-called Star Wars films live. We saw it several years after it actually come out, and I'll be honest, saw it at the same time that Empire Strikes come back out. So we had everything come out in one hit, and so I grew up with grew up with Star Wars as a kid. I was probably about 4 to 5 years behind when the movie came out. So when I was the eldest, and we ended up with a bootleg copy of Star Wars of VHS and Empire Strikes Back when it came out. So we grew up with all the Star Wars figures and toys and bed sheets, and I guess for us, well, for me, Star Wars was like a massive influence. Luke, Han. I think as a kid growing up, you know, you sort of see yourself as Luke. Han's really cool, you know, and then you always drawn to Darth Vader and the dark side and the Empire and all that sort of stuff. I sort of related to a lot like that. I think with Luke, and there's a big age difference between Han was like in his mid-30s. Sorry, Harrison Ford was in his mid-30s, and Luke obviously was in his early 20s, I think, and then Carrie Fisher was like 18 or 19, so she was actually quite young, and but you know, doesn't stop them being, especially females, having more maturity than guys. But Empire Strikes Back Star Wars was the film, and then Empire Strikes Back was just the ultimate follow-up film to that series, to that we didn't know it was going to be a trilogy at that time. And growing up in the middle of nowhere, you didn't have access to all the information you got now about TVs and movies. And plus, we like I said, we were so remote. I can't express to you how remote it is. Like where I grew up, you had a national broadcast. I'll do it injustice. It's just remote. You were just a kid. We used to get on, you know, we get on BMXs. We go fishing all day, play cricket all day, play sport all day. You do all these things, and then the town changed a bit when the VHS and the videos came out, because people just sat at home under the air conditioner and watch movies instead of going out and running around. And then it's pretty much like what the internet is now. But getting to what The Last Jedi, all I wanted to say about The Last Jedi is that I watched the film. I thought it was okay to good as a film, but as a Star Wars film, I was just really disappointed. I'm the age group that's grown up with Luke and Han and all that sort of stuff. I didn't sort of... Probably going to have to stop this recording because of the upload. But yeah, look, yeah, the prequels weren't my thing. Because it was Star Wars, you still watched it. You know, the Phantom Menace. I think it was just all over. What it is, what it is. But growing up, that first three films, the Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi, Luke Skywalker was, became the Jedi. He went from that young, wet behind the ears kid to the hero of the rebellion, blew up the Death Star, to the training as a Jedi in Empire Strikes Back, finding out about his father. That ultimate storyline, the dark side versus the light, or the light versus the dark, and then the sort of coming to the end of the story of Return of the Jedi. Yeah, the Ewoks were a bit of a pain in the ass, but hey, it is what it is. Huge influence as a kid in that age group growing up, and prequels were what it's different time, different place. It's hard to replicate something differently, and I think there was it was more filling in the history of things rather than being the same story again. Force Awakens, look, hey, it was basically Star Wars New Hope Mark II, but it even just rewatching a few bits of it, I think it's just a better director, and he played on the dark side and the light and Snoke and all these things. And I guess for the last 2 years, I've got onto YouTube and you've seen Snoke theories, you've seen all these different theories, and I think leading up the last 6 months, I ended up watching a lot of these theories to myself and thinking, I've never been a hardcore Star Wars person. Well, no, I suppose I have, but not a nerd. I had the toys as a kid, but not as an adult. It's not something I'm not into that. But what concerned me about The Last Jedi is I was watching and waiting comparison to when The Force Awakens came out, and I felt there was not trailers. Because I remember about Force Awakens is that there was a lot of reactions on YouTube, and I ended up watching guys my age, mid to late 30s and that, and married kids and that, and they're showing their, their 10-year-old or 15-year-old kid for the first time or something like that, and there was all these reactions and tears and all this emotion coming through. So when the next one, The Last Jedi, was coming out, I thought, we've seen one trailer several months ago, or August onwards, and I thought, it's quite strange, they haven't it's not the same. And I was thinking to myself, I haven't seen trailers really showing a lot more of this film. And I was suspecting there was an issue. And I thought to myself, nah, just go see the film, see how it works. So 24 hours before most of you Americans got to see it, we saw it here in Australia. And someone's killing someone. Anyway, so again, when the film came out, I was like, I'm going to have to get involved here. Hang on.
There's something a bit off.
Scream! Scream for your worthless life! Ah!
Danger?
Face me, you
No,
coward!
thanks.
The bird's stuck.
I wanted a light! Huh? What's that? Human! Let's play!
Good riddance.
Yeah, so Force Awakens comes out. We've seen the trailers. Had a bit of... the movie's played, and yes, I've got to say that I saw it. I reserved my feelings on it. A lot of friends wanted to know. I said, look, go see it for yourself. Tell me what you think. I don't want to say too much without giving away spoilers. And I was really pissed off what they had done to Luke. And I thought to myself, why is this the third film? Ben Kenobi was a fucking hermit. Yoda became a hermit. And now Luke's a hermit. But Luke is more like just poorly written. And I've put up a video just recently just showing the showing his, you know, through Return of the Jedi, sorry, from Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, and he's, you know, his development, the character development, and it's so vastly superior, it's not funny. And I think the biggest problem with Return of the Jedi, sorry, The Last Jedi, is that I think Luke's Mark Hamill's acting was fine. It's the execution of the story. You know, it has so many plot holes, so many things to build up. The hell?
Hi. Thanks a lot. I'm never leaving Vault 81 again. Count on it. This is the last time I'm volunteering for one of these expeditions.
Okay. This game still surprised me after all this time.
Guess my good karma's paying off.
Or did they kill him, did they?
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, so getting back to Return of the Jedi, The Last Jedi, all I can simply say is that it's effectively the execution of the story. I think you can't have some of these characters play on, but then again, Harrison Ford is in his 70s. He was playing Han Solo. I think Luke is in Mark Hamill's in his 60s. I'm sure he's capable of doing a couple of films. But all I got to say is it just didn't do justice to his character, and the main reason for me that everyone's dead. What the hell's going on? Like I said, with Obi-Wan Kenobi and Yoda, you got to understand that's Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back, and the ending of Rogue One says it correctly, or the end of the Revenge of the Sith, whatever it is Vader's job after he becomes Darth Vader, Anakin, is to hunt down and kill the Jedi, and basically Obi-Wan and Yoda go into hiding because there is the Inquisitors and all the Empire out hunting them down and killing them. Now, I haven't watched all those cartoons because I'm too old for that sort of stuff, but I understand they went through some of that story. But it makes sense for them to hide and be hiding. And Luke was the rebirth of the new Jedi, the new blood coming through after what had happened through the first three prequel movies. And so, you know, that's fine. And so this Luke, he's a mad hermit. He's He's given up on his friends and his family. All this, it just wasn't done well. And I think the biggest issue I have is when you see Star Wars: New Hope and then Empire Strikes Back. Rey is what they call a Mary Sue or Gary Stew or whatever the thing is. The character's too perfect. She's been wielding a lightsaber for less than a film, and already she's an expert at it. She doesn't do any training with Luke. Character is just, I don't know. And one thing someone brought up to me, and I didn't sort of trigger me or click with me, is when Luke at the very end of the film. If you have seen the film, it's obviously too late. Spoilers. But if Luke at the end of the film goes and fights Kylo Ren, but the problem is Kylo's had his ass handed to him at least twice, if not 3 times, by Rey. And Luke's a Jedi Master, so let's forget all about. Let's just say we forget all about Rey as a character, and the big bad showdown at the end of the film. Let's just say they wrote it differently, and it was Luke, not his projection. It was Luke, the Master Jedi, fighting Kylo Ren, the evil. There's no payoff on it because he's being defeated by Rey already a couple of times. So I don't understand the logic of him fighting Luke if Rey was beating his ass. And are they trying to suggest Rey's even stronger than Luke in his prime, or Luke at the moment as a Master Jedi? Because Yoda was still kicking ass for 800 years of his 900 years. So when someone said that to me, I thought, hang on, you're right. It'd be like you've got the number 1 world heavyweight champion boxer in the world, you're fighting the number 3 contender who's had his ass handed to him 3 times by the number 2 guy. You think everyone's going to turn up and watch the fight? No, and you don't expect him to lose either. Or the bloke who finished 3rd to beat the heavy champion if he's had his ass thrashed 3 times. So, you know. So what it all puts down to is bad, I guess, storyboarding, failure of plot holes that carry stories over from the first film of the series, the trilogy, saying a lot of things people already know. I think if Mark Hamill had the same personal half of Harrison Ford, like personal profile as Harrison Ford, I think his character would have been different. I think because Harrison Ford is Harrison Ford, he got to play Hound like he wanted to and go out the way he wanted to. Luke had these ideas, and it sounds like he should have come in at The Force Awakens, picks up the lightsaber, defeats Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren runs away and goes, Luke's back, tells Snoke, and that sets up, say, this film, The Last Jedi, of Luke and Snoke having a battle, and him sort of showing Rey, and he gets badly wounded in the battle, sort of badly nearly kills Snoke, or maybe he kills Snoke, and but he's mortally wounded, and he goes out. But as he goes out, he passes his wisdom knowledge to Rey. But Rey's been made so, like, Rey's just destroyed the last 6 films of all the Jedis, how they trained, and the Sith, how they trained for years and years and years to master their arts. And now she's some sort of uber. It's just a lot of shit. But, and I don't want to get this into this like feminist modern girl power shit, because write a good story, execute it well, and make us believe. Sell it to us. Don't serve us a pile of shit and put a Star Wars logo on it and then tell us it's, you know, it's good. It's definitely not. But anyway, that's enough for me crapping on. That's the last thing you want to tune in for about that series. But look, what I would have liked to. All right. Yeah. So Luke, the character, should have come back into the second to third part of Act 1. Sorry, Act 2 and Act 3 of The Force Awakens. He should have seen Han die. Should have been there with Leia, and then he should have fought as start of maybe the end of Force Awakens. It's Luke who defeats Kylo Ren wounds him badly, meets Rey, Princess Leia, and all that sort of stuff, and that sets up a showdown for the Last Jedi to clash with Snoke, and they have the battle to the where, say, Luke's character is mortally wounded, and Snoke is either killed or very badly damaged himself, and it sort of sets up the third film. Like at the moment, unless you guys don't have to be Star Wars fans, but all I want to know is I don't know what the next film. I honestly don't know what the next film is set up for. If you know, let me know.
Huh?
Oh, good.
Hey. Who?
Oh. Got a lot of gear on him, didn't he?
Yo, psst.
Sure. Anything you need. Got it.
Yeah, okay, if that stream's lagging very bad, I'm going to try to fix it because I'll test my upload speed. As I said, I should be pulling 30 megabits per second, and it looks like I'm only pulling about 2 to 5, so I'll stop it, save you torturing you guys, and I'll see if we can fix it and come back soon.